election in 2010. Near the press box, I ran into Ralph Reed, a Christian right operative once hailed by Time magazine as God's right hand. Reed had harbored presidential ambitions, but his campaign for Georgia lieutenant governor ended in humiliating defeat when his role was disclosed in lobbyist Jack Abramoff's scheme to trick evangelical leaders into pressuring the Bush administration's Department of Interior to shut down Indian casinos that Abramoff's clients considered business competitors. I asked Reed whether he still had a political future. "What do you mean? I never left politics," he chirped, beaming at me with a pearly smile. Reed and Abramoff's former friend and ally, ex-House Majority Leader Tom DeLay, hosted a private party that evening for Republican bigwigs. DeLay, who stood accused by the Texas Attorney General of money laundering, had charged McCain with betraying the conservative movement. One of the DeLay party's high-profile attendees, Representative John McCain, headbutted an ABC cameraman when a reporter asked him if he was happy to see his disgraced friend. Then I made my way to the far corner of the convention floor to mingle with the Idaho delegation. I asked delegates where the state's outgoing senior senator, Larry Craig, was. Craig, rated the third most conservative senator in Congress, had barely eluded criminal charges after soliciting sex with an undercover cop in an airport bathroom stall. "We'd rather not go back and revisit all that," Governor Jim Risch, running to replace Craig, told me. "I'm really here to talk about our party's plan for keeping the tax rate low." From the Idaho delegation, I pushed through a gaggle of reporters and cameramen surrounding the Alaska delegation to meet some of Palin's constituents. When I approached a young man, the only delegate from the state who appeared to be under the age of 50, he snapped, "You're not going to ask about Bristol, are you?" referring to Palin's pregnant 16-year-old daughter, who sat nearby with her fiancé, 18-year-old self-proclaimed fucking redneck Levi Johnston. I asked about Palin's support for laws banning abortion even in cases of rape, incest, or when the mother's life is in danger. "There's no reason to kill a baby, whether you consider him unborn or born," the delegate replied. Another delegate, a middle-aged woman, explained to me how her husband took their 2 daughters on dates to talk about keeping themselves pure until marriage. 2 days later, the same woman, dressed in a construction worker's outfit, like one of the village people, bellowed on the convention floor in favor of offshore drilling. "Drill, baby, drill." This was a portrait of the Republican Party fully in the grip of its right wing, almost exclusively white, overwhelmingly evangelical, fixated on abortion, homosexuality, and abstinence education, resentful and angry, and unable to discuss how and why it had become this way. Noticeably absent from the convention were moderate Republicans. Senator Lincoln Chafee, legatee of the moderate Republican tradition in Rhode Island, was defeated in the 2006 midterms, and he was endorsing Obama. The last Republican House member from New England, Representative Chris Shays of Connecticut, would lose his seat in 2 months. None of the great Republican families of the past, from the Rockefellers to the Eisenhowers, were there either. Both of Ronald Reagan's natural children, Ron and Patty, endorsed Obama. President Dwight Eisenhower's granddaughter, Susan, addressed the Democratic National Convention in Denver just moments before Barack Obama appeared to accept his party's nomination. How did a party once known for its big tent philosophy become a one-ring circus? How did a Republican Party that had dominated American politics for over 25 years become so marginalized? During the 1952 presidential campaign, the Republican nominee and former Supreme Commander of Allied forces in Europe, Dwight D. Eisenhower, silently observed the attacks on the patriotism of a man he knew was a great American, General George C. Marshall, then serving as Secretary of State. His assailant was Senator Joseph McCarthy of Wisconsin, as opportunistic and sloppy as he was vicious. Eisenhower seethed while McCarthy smeared Marshall as a man steeped in falsehood who supposedly harbored at least 57 active communists within the State Department. Eisenhower loathed everything about McCarthy, regarding him as a dangerous and petty demagogue, but he shrank from attacking him or defending Marshall